Hello, my name is Voya and welcome to My Deep Guide, and in today's episode we are going to be checking out a musical instrument. So you know that from time to time I do the reviews of guitars, synths or other things. So it's not just e-ink, even though that comprises probably like 95% of the content on My Deep Guide. But my interests are varied and from time to time I do like to kind of show these things as well. So today we are going to be talking about the Squier Stratocaster Classic Vibe 50s guitar. Some of you may remember that I've done last year a kind of rundown of Squier Telecaster guitars, and I've tried 4 of them, and I narrowed it down to one that I really loved, and I still really love it, and that one was Classic Vibe 50s. And as I don't have a Stratocaster guitar in my arsenal, and that's something that I did want to actually have and try, I went for the Classic Vibe 50s Squier Strat. So let's dig in. And here is the guitar in question. So we got the Squier by Fender Stratocaster. This is the Classic Vibe series, 50s to be exact. Just the first overall kind of overview of the guitar. Like everything else, this one is made in Indonesia, and it has a very similar kind of build quality like the Telecaster Classic Vibe that I do have, also the 50s that I chosen. So the configuration is SSS, so triple singles. You have the tremolo, normal kind of jack. You have your 2 tones, 1 volume, 5 blade switch, 21 frets, nickel-plated hardware, vintage style tuners on the back. We have a nice guideline here for the strings, and the frets are narrow tall. As far as the materials go, we have the maple neck with the maple fingerboard. Well, actually there's no fingerboard because this is a full-on maple neck with a stripe in the back for the truss rod. Truss rod is adjustable from the head side, and the body is made out of pine wood. And in this particular one, there are several finishes that you can choose from. So you have the classic two-tone sunburst, have the black, you have the Fiesta red, and you also have this one, which is called white blonde, which on the images that you may kind of see looks like a kind of off-white type of color, but the whole point is that, like any blonde finish that they have, this one is semi-transparent. And honestly, the way that this looks in real life is absolutely gorgeous. It's I did not expect it to be that beautiful, because that was one of the biggest surprises that I, visually, because you see one thing in the images and then you see this live, and it really looks very, very nice. The price for this model is $430 US. You don't get a gig bag or anything, but the packaging that it does arrive in is absolutely rock solid, because you have a box within a box, and the box that's holding this is absolutely made sure that nothing, bar somebody completely mangling the package, yeah, your guitar will arrive safely to you. So I think that it's at $430 US, this is a really important instrument to take into consideration if you're looking for a Strat-like type of guitar. So let's talk a little bit more about the neck in this case. It features a tinted gloss urethane finish. The finish is very nicely done. It actually feels really good under the hand when playing. It's not sticky. It's actually quite super smooth, of course, because it's a urethane finish. But the most important thing is that it's not sticky, which is something that's very good and comfortable to play. The shape is a something that they call a slim, comfortable C-shaped necked profile with an easy playing 9.5-inch radius fingerboard. Well, it doesn't have a fingerboard, and 21 narrow tall frets. Well, I can definitely attest that the neck profile is wonderfully comfortable to play. It is not bulky. It is not. It's just, for my hand, it's absolutely perfect. It's something that's just so comfortable and easy to play that it just provides support for the thumb where you need it, and it just really works. And in this case, I also have to say that $430 US, and this amount of flamed maple, gorgeous flamed maple. I don't know how much the camera can pick up, but there's flamed maple everywhere on this particular piece, and it just looks absolutely gorgeous. That was my number one surprise when I opened up and checked out this guitar, because I did not expect that. I really didn't expect to have the neck like that kind of piece of wood, which was really nice to see. We have a standard 25.5-inch scale. Nut material, it's bone, and it's a standard 42mm nut. Inlays, it has standard black inlay dots on the top and on the sides, and yeah, as I mentioned, the truss rod is adjustable from the head side. The frets, narrow tall, right? But the state of the frets on this one is absolutely perfect. I didn't have to do anything. The edges are perfect. There's absolutely nothing sticking on the side at all. I expect that kind of fretwork finish from a much more expensive guitar, and I've seen much more like guitars that are like triple the price of this that actually have some issues that this guitar doesn't. So fretwork on this is absolutely perfect, and yeah, the polishing of the fret is also done, so it's not scratchy or anything like that. You don't have to do anything. At least I didn't have to do anything on this guitar. I just opened it up, checked the frets, and there was zero fretwork involved to be able to work with the guitar. So fret leveling, fret edges, fret finish, and polishing, all perfect. The body is a standard Stratocaster shape, so it doesn't have any contemporary cutouts or any modifications. It's as standard as it gets. It is pine, so it's actually quite weighty, but it does give it a nice kind of mass, and it's nicely balanced overall. As I said, this is a white blonde finish, which is beautiful, with the pine wood actually showing underneath, which normally, I don't know, it doesn't maybe look that pretty, but this, with this combination, it's really, really beautiful. It's just something that looks fairly, I don't know, it's different, and I really like it. Other finishes, as mentioned, but I'll just mention it here for those who just skipped this section. At least in Europe, you can get it in classic two-tone sunburst, which is like a tobacco sunburst. You have a black, you have a fiesta red, and you have the white blonde, which is here. Originally, this is not the first guitar that I got of this one. First, I ordered the fiesta red, but that one is not here. And we'll talk more about that in the quality control section, because absolutely you want to check that chapter in this one. The finish itself is of course polyurethane, and yeah, that's pretty much it as far as the body goes. Regarding the pickups, we got the 3 singles, and it's a trio of Fender designed Alnico single coil pickups. They sound they have no right to sound that good for this price. that's all I can actually say. The frequency response, the dynamic response, the volume response, all of the stuff is just really, really way above what I would have expected from, again, a guitar that costs $430 US. So I prefer to have the singles quite low, and you can see that they are angled in such a way. So I've set them up in a way that I like them, but the factory setup was also okay. It's a much more standard type of setup where they are a little bit higher and a little bit more level. And that provides for quite a nice tone as well. But I really love when you lower the pickup way, way down, especially singles. That gives you so much dynamic range to actually kind of play, because then it just kind of expands the dynamic range of the guitar itself, what it's capable of. So that's why I do that. But overall, yeah, the pickups sound absolutely great. So here are some examples. Yeah, let's first hear clean examples. And now let's dirty them up. And finally, here's just how it sounds with what the volume is kind of control is capable of giving you, and how important of a control it is on a guitar that actually has capable pickups in it. Now on to the electronics. So as I said, we have the master volume that controls volume of the master, and then we have two tone controls. First one is neck middle, and the second one is the tone bridge. The switch is a 5-position blade switch. And when my brother was actually checking out the guitar and he did the first time the switching, he said like, what the hell? Is that the stock switch? This thing doesn't move. It's so rock solid. It's such a high quality switch. It's so good, so feels so cool to actually use and so confident to use that I don't understand how can they do that, because I have a lot of guitars, and guitars that are like $1,200 or something, they don't have a switch like this. So yeah, but this one, 430 US bucks, yeah, it does have it. So as far as that's the configuration of the electronics. Now, the state of the electronics is okay. I do miss a little bit of treble bleed, maybe, with the volume control. Not so much on the bridge, but particularly the combination of middle and neck. For some reason, it tends to get a little bit, that's the only combination gets to be a little bit too dull. Everything else actually, yeah, all other 4 combinations are really good, but that one is surprisingly dull, so I'm not really sure what happens there. But generally speaking, I think I might want to install a treble bleed just to try it out and see if that's something that I like or not, because I think that the pickups can definitely offer a little bit more clarity. And on a guitar like this, at least I am playing with the volume all the time, simply because it's such a useful and powerful control, and it allows you to control the tone in a really, really cool way. So yeah, that's something. But other than that, it's okay. Inexplicably, this guitar also has grounding issues. Which is something that I experienced with the Telecaster models as well. I'll have to double check that and see why there's grounding issues. That's something, again, it's not something that shouldn't be in 2023, and it absolutely shouldn't be in 2024. All right, so now let's cover the hardware. So we have a 6-saddle vintage style synchronized tremolo. What does that mean? Well, you've got 6 screws here, and it bends over there when you put a tremolo bar in here. On the back, you have your springs that attach to a claw, and that's that. By default, the springs here are 3 springs, and they are in the V shape. So V shape in here, V shape spreading to the tremolo there. And it provides quite enough, a lot of actually tension, which is good, because don't expect any tuning stability out of a tremolo like this. It just is not meant for that. And that's why you don't even see me having the handle there. I didn't even, I unpacked the handle, I tried it, got the expected behavior, and packed the handle back. And that's something that I won't be actually using on this guitar, because it's not something that interests me. If I want to do a little bit of a bend, I'll just do it by hand, or here, and that's pretty much it. It's far more beneficial if you actually have the tension of the strings like that the bridge is slammed back to the body so that it makes a nice firm connection with the body, so that it can transfer frequencies onto the body and that the whole thing can actually resonate more and have a party. The saddles are nice, but not my absolute preferred type, and especially the saddle screws here that you see. This is the only modification that I've done on this guitar since I've had it like for a couple of months now. Factory default, these saddle screws are 12 millimeter and they are way too tall. That is a pet peeve of mine, and yeah, I had to order custom ones, and I ordered first the 6 millimeter ones, and they fit only on the E6 and E1. The rest needed to be a combination of 8 and 10 millimeters, and the reason for that is that the saddles are basically just bent here, just a thin sheet of yeah, whatever the material is, but it's not a block. So those screws, they need to be of a fairly precise measurement in order to get the results, the exact results that you want. So if that is a pet peeve of yours and you want to kind of upgrade it, the ones that I've used are 6 millimeter lengths on the E6 and E1, and the rest, I think that there were, no, all of them are 10. Yeah, I tried with the 8, but that didn't work, so all of them were actually 10 millimeters, so that I can achieve the string height that I like, or the string action that I like. Additionally, the factory saddle screws are a little bit too sharp. Like these, even when they stick out, they are not that sharp and they're far more comfortable to play. So that is something that I would definitely recommend changing if you have a problem with, yeah, that scraping around your arm. We have a standard jack here, strap bolts or holders, normal neck joint here, vintage style tuners on the back, which work well. They needed a little bit of time to kind of get worked into the whole thing, but when you allow it a little bit of time, they actually start working very, very nicely. Overall, we have a nickel finish of the hardware. The pickup guard is a one ply white pickup, so no multi-layers there, and the color of the plastics is the aged white plastics on the knobs, on the pickups, and on the pickup selector switch. Not on the pickup guard though. As standard, it comes with a 09 to 42 string gauge. I think that that's way too loose for my liking, and when I changed the strings to 1046, I naturally needed to slot the nut slots adequately so that they can house the 10s, because they are slotted for 9s, so that's something that you have to keep in mind. And also, as soon as I did the setup of the nut, the tuning stability improved. What does that mean? Well, when I had it out of the box with the factory strings, which I don't know how old they were, but they were 9s, and they were also, the nut was not slotted properly, I guess. It would grip the strings, and then the tuning could be a little bit difficult, and also the tuning stability was not the best. However, as I said, when I put the 10s in, you know, adjusted the tension of the whole instrument. The neck, of course, had to be adjusted because of the new tension of the strings, and most importantly, the filing of the nuts was done properly. Now, there are no tuning stabilities other than what you would expect normally from an instrument like this. So for me, the tuning stability of this one, once the nut was set up and new string gauges were done, is actually quite good. As far as the factory setup goes, it is mostly okay. and the guitar is perfectly playable out of the box. The things that I did change, yeah, I did set up pretty much everything. Main cause for the whole setup change was basically changing and upgrading to a higher tension strings, meaning 10 to 46. That's going to exert more pressure, and then you need to adjust the truss rod. Once you need to adjust the truss rod, you need to adjust the saddles, and also I exchanged the saddle screws, which meant that I need to update the string height as well. But basically, the things that I've done is change the strings, adjust the truss rod, replace the saddle screws, adjust the string height, and that's it. There's really nothing else. Oh, and slotted the nut so that it can accommodate comfortably the 10s. That's it. I'm just trying to think, was there anything else? Nope. There's absolutely nothing else that I needed to do on this guitar. So as I mentioned, the frets were in absolutely perfect state. So no polishing, no leveling, no edge treatment needed. The nut was also, the edges are perfectly done. Sometimes they can stick out here on the side. That's not the case here. So yeah, other than absolutely normal stuff that you need to do if you upgrade the string gauge or change the string gauge, yeah, it just really works. And now we come to the quality control part, and this is going to be a little bit of a longer explanation because, as I already briefly mentioned, this is not the first guitar that I got of the same model. This is actually the second Classic Vibe 50s guitar that I have received. The first one was a Fiesta Red version, and that was, by all accounts, something that should have been, and it must have been, rejected by the factory. And the QC absolutely should have returned that guitar out as a reject. Meaning, a guitar in such a state, the Fiesta Red, the first one that I got, has absolutely no business leaving the factory under any circumstances. Why? One of the bridge saddles was completely broken and bent out of shape. And remember, this is a factory sealed box, right? So that's bad on its own. But the absolute worst of all was the state of the neck and the frets. The frets were actually not properly hammered into the neck. So the frets were actually hovering from the neck so that when you would bend the string like this, they would catch underneath the edge. And also then you can imagine just how much those edges were actually cutting into your fingers. It was absolutely unbelievable to see that something like this could leave the factory. There was also something strange going on with the pickups and the electronics, as the volume and the tone control was strange. I didn't explore it too much, but it just didn't sound right. The guitar generally sounded way more dull and constrained than this one. There wasn't even a hint of twanginess that you would expect from a Stratocaster, so that was also quite off. And also the neck joint here, while you can see that it's perfectly normal here, on that Fiesta Red, you could use it as a pick holder. It was just absolutely atrocious. As a complete contrast to the Fiesta Red guitar that I received, when I opened the box containing this one, I really couldn't believe my eyes. Again, because the flamed maple neck, the perfect style, state of the frets, precision, execution, everything was spot on this one, and it also played as such, and it sounded really good. The sound on this one is a lot more open, twangy, and the dynamic response was immensely better. And that was when I was actually comparing them back to back. So I can say with 100% honesty that the looks and on-paper specifications are the only thing that the Fiesta Red CV and the White Blonde CV 50s guitar that I had a chance to try, that I've purchased, those are the only things that they've shared. One was a complete lemon, the Fiesta Red. It was just something that should have been a factory reject. And this one is a complete gem. So go figure. While I absolutely love my white blonde Squier Stratocaster, I'm really under no illusions that it represents the standard that should be expected from the Classic Vibe 50s, as that was clearly demonstrated by the Fiesta Red unit that I originally received when I purchased it. So this inconsistency presents a big problem, because customers won't really know what they will get until they open it up and play it, and the Fender Squier would do really well to improve the quality control standards across the board. So let's talk about the conclusion, and we start with the cons. And the biggest con, absolutely, and the most serious con is going to be the quality control. Since that was just the last section that we've talked about, everything is clear there. But if one guitar that you purchase is a complete dud and the second one is an absolute gem, it's great when you end up with a gem, but it really sucks if you end up with a dud, and that inconsistency is a big problem. Thankfully, now we have the state of online purchasing and store purchasing, where you can actually buy and return until you get a proper guitar that you are supposed to get for that money. But still, it's something that you have to keep in mind. Another con is, by default, for me at least, the bridge screws are way too high. I think that the 10 millimeters would be more than enough to go out of factory. The tremolo tuning stability is non-existent, so that is a standard for any tremolo of this type. So what you just if you don't want to deal with that, just slam it down to the body with the spring tension, pack the tremolo bar somewhere and pretend that it doesn't exist, and I think you're going to have a good time. And finally, the grounding issues. That is a con that's obviously present on other guitars, and somehow, and I don't know for what reason, it's present on this one as well. Now on to the pros. Well, it is the absolutely fantastic quality for the price of $430 if, it's a huge if you get a good piece, like I did. I almost didn't order a second one because of how bad the first one was, but I'm really glad that I did, because this, what I got here, is absolutely unbelievable quality and craftsmanship for the price. Fantastic sound and dynamic response, especially if you lower those pickups a little bit to allow them some more breathing room. Then you open up the guitar even more. Really comfortable neck and frets to actually play. Sometimes people say, oh, the narrow tall frets, they can be not for the beginners. I actually disagree with that. I think that they're very nice, and I don't know, this combination is just, for me, really comfortable and easy to play. Really good tuning stability when upgraded to 10 string gauge, and adjusting the nut slots accordingly, and basically just kind of allowing the instrument to kind of slot in and start working normally. Then really good tuning stability. I was surprised that despite the 9.5-inch radius that the neck has, that I was able to set up a very low action without losing the tone or getting significant fret buzz, and that is a huge plus for me. That just also speaks to the state of the fretwork on this particular model here, on a unit here. That it's really excellent, and that I was able to achieve that setup that I really wanted. Absolutely gorgeous flamed maple neck and headstock as well, that you get in this one if you get a good piece. I'm aware that it's going to be a gamble, and some models are going to have this, some are not, but models or examples like this of the classic CV or the classic Vibe 50s do apparently exist, so it's worth shopping around. The white blonde finish is really beautiful. It is discreet but truly beautiful, and that was a very nice and a big positive surprise, because the promo images don't really do this finish any justice, and it's way more beautiful in person than on any images that I've seen. Overall, if you do get a good piece, this is an unbeatable bang for the buck and value for your money in this guitar. It's as simple as that. Alright, so how to summarize the Squier Classic Vibe 50s Stratocaster as a guitar? Well, in all honesty, I almost simply just returned the Fiesta Red version that I've gotten, and basically without trying another one to see if it was a quality control issue or not. I would have regretted that decision a big time, because the white blonde version of the guitar that I've gotten after the Fiesta Red is an absolute gem of a guitar. It's quickly becoming one of my go-to and favorite guitars to play, and the other guitars are kind of like looking at it and saying, what makes you so special? And the answer to that is really simple. It's just how it plays and how it sounds. It's an instrument, so it comes down to that. And this is a damn fine instrument, especially if you take into consideration that it costs $430 US. In my case, second go around, I got an absolute excellent piece. The first one was complete trash. So that's something that you absolutely have to keep in mind. But my experience has shown me that it was worth it. For me, at least, it was worth the hassle, the wait and everything, if what I'm gonna end up with is something like this guitar over here. I know that while I did not regret sending the Fiesta Red and it could not get out of the house quickly enough, that's how bad it was. This one, it's not going anywhere anytime soon, if ever. Well, that's it. I hope that you found the video interesting, informative, and or useful. If you did, please like and subscribe and ding the notification bell in the description below to get notified when new videos come out on My Deep Guide. And if you are interested in musical instrument reviews, I do them from time to time, and you can already find quite a few on my channel, so do check that out so that you can maybe find some more useful information. Thank you so much for watching. Stay safe, stay healthy, and see you in the next video. Bye!